Hello there, Kanokarob here, and we are here in a brand new plains biome, in a brand new world that is in the 1.17 release candidate 1. This video, I suspect, will be coming out probably on June 8th, which will be the day of the 1.17 actual release, as well as New in Town's update to version 2.6 that is 1.17 compatible. Because there are no shaders, because Optifine is not updated to 1.17 yet, there will probably not be an update trailer. However, I will say that as soon as there are shaders and Optifine is available for 1.17, I'll be making a completely new cinematic trailer for the project page. So that'll have all these new features, because there are some important changes in this version and some changes that have been in the last couple of versions that are not included there. And I feel like I've gotten a lot better with my video editing style and with my ability to tell a nice and concise story and give a good example of what New in Town is and what all it entails for a cinematic trailer. So I'll be remaking the official trailer that kind of serves as the base introduction. But for now, because there won't be a proper update trailer just for this content, we'll kind of be talking about that in this dev diary. Instead of going to the dimensions and talking about excavators in particular is what we'll be talking about next. This video is going to be kind of the run through of what all is new and updated in version 2.6 for 1.17. So let's go ahead and jump right into things. So of course in 2.5 we updated things slightly, and now you get the town charter from any type of log. Still requires oak logs for all the recipes, but I feel like that's not a huge deal. You can find some oak logs or at least oak leaves kind of anywhere, or worst case scenario, I mean, just give yourself a sapling if it's that big a deal for you. Let's go ahead and start our town. The first thing we should notice here is a, well, I guess it's not really noticeable, but if we turn on hitboxes, so there are no longer hitboxes coming out of the droppers here, out of the site planners, because there are no more area effect clouds. Same up here. If we take a look at the hoppers, we've got the item frames, of course, but in the hoppers there are no hitboxes. Because there are no area effect clouds. That's what we were using for invisible entities to make everything in New in Town work. But in 1.17, we were introduced to the marker entity, and that is what we're using now. So the marker entities are functionally identical to area effect clouds. They're invisible. They don't have, hitboxes. They can't be hit by anything. But they do help keep TPS down just a little bit, because they only exist server side, not on the client. They're not handled by the client. Now in single player, the difference will be a little bit less noticeable, because of course you are running an integrated server. So even though your client isn't running it, it is kind of running it, or calculating it, because your client is also sort of running the server. It's a weird kind of situation. So it's not a huge difference, and especially for 1.17 anyway, because 1.17 is so much more performance heavy than 1.16. But hopefully it should make a difference for servers, and especially as 1.17 kind of hopes to hopefully improves performance some. We'll get better at things, and New in Town will run a little bit smoother for longer periods of time. So let's go ahead and see what is new with the town planner. So he's still got the same trades, settlement site recipes, building permit, castle permit, and everything like that. But let's go ahead real quick, grab a feather. That's not what I wanted. Grab a feather, thank you. And get our settlement site recipes right here. And when we open it up, if I do it right, there we go. We'll notice it's a little bit different. So it is longer, of course. And if we come right here, we have an index. So you can click the names of any of these and they will take you to the appropriate page. Let's go ahead and just skip to the introduction real quick. So the introduction page is slightly different. Normally this would teach you how to read the recipes, with the symbols and letters standing in for the building permit and the requisite resources. It would tell you that oak logs and stone are L and S respectively, and we used for every recipe. But instead, it tells you, oh, this is where the description of the structure will be. And if you hover over the structure's name, you can view its recipe. So if we take a look at that, that's exactly what we see. We see that this is what we put in the site planner. It's a 4x4 grid, but obviously only 3x3 is actually filled. That is what is going to be put in a site planner. So this recipe does nothing. It's just an example recipe. But we can see now visually that we put oak logs on the top 5 slots, stone down in the bottom, rather than cobblestone, and the building permit right in the middle. So the glowing paper here, it tells us right here, is a building permit, since obviously we can't roll our mouse over it, since the whole thing moves when you move our mouse. So this is achieved by using bundles. Basically, I have a hover event that shows a tooltip for a bundle when you roll over the name, and by great convenience, when you have a tooltip for a bundle, it shows you what is in the bundle. So I have a bunch of data in there for what's in the bundle, and it matches what goes into the site planners for these recipes. So if we skip ahead to the mine right here and take a look here, we see the mine recipe. We see we need oak logs and stone, the iron pickaxe and iron shovel, and of course the building permit. We can show you right here that that is in fact still what the recipe is. If we grab some oak logs here, we only need 16, 64 stone. We'll need an iron pickaxe and an iron shovel, as well as one of the building permits that comes with our chest. So if we do this and this, do some of that, a little bit of this right here, and that's exactly, oh, look at that, perfect timing. That's exactly the recipe that was shown in the recipe book. So this is the case for every recipe, and now because we have all this extra space, it will explain a little bit more in the description what the structure does. So hires a miner who deposits stone to your town's hoppers at noon every day. Now specifies the time, it tells you where they go, and will tell you what they buy and sell. Lumber mill, same thing, and it'll also specify here that the water bucket is not returned for the lumber mill recipe, for example. There's many other situations where it goes into a little bit more detail because it can. Let's see if we can find. So the farm plot, new farm plot tells you if you have multiple farm plots, all their yields will be deposited into the first plot's chest, and again the water bucket isn't returned. The guard tower tells you it will weaken nearby mobs, but you still have to slay them yourself, and it doesn't affect nether mobs anymore. It never did, but now it tells you so. Resource silo now tells you it'll double from your mines and lumber mills, and only the most recently resource silo becomes active. Mining drill, same thing. Let's go ahead and build a mining drill here real quick. Advancement, grant, as only, Nikkei, recipes, because that has received a small change. Recipe drill. Do that real quick. So let's go ahead and set the time once again to noon, or just before noon. And we'll take a look in the chest here. Come on. So we got a little bit of materials here. Notably, we have raw iron and actual coal instead of iron ore and coal ore. So that is the main change to the mining drill. All of the odds for the different kinds of items you can get from it are the same. But now, instead of getting the ore variance for all of the things you would have gotten from it, you instead get the individual. This is also the case for the magical farm in the Nether, which we'll demonstrate shortly here. It is not the case, I believe, for the emerald ore that you can get in the correct biome for regional outposts. So the regional outpost, I believe there's one subset of biomes that gives you emerald ore every day, or can give you emerald ore every day, and it still gives you ore, not standard emeralds. But that is the main change for the mining drill. Let's see here, what else is important? The recipe book is the main situation. Oh yes, and because of the recipe book, so you can safely update your 1.16 new in town to 1.17, assuming you can safely update your 1.16 world to 1.17, which partially depends on whether you're going to use the official Caves and Cliffs preview data pack provided by Mojang. But if you do update to the new version of New in Town, obviously you're going to want the new recipe book for your world. So you can use the function Nikkei debug update all to update your town planner and all the other planner villagers that you might have in your world. And now that function will not remove the old recipe book from your inventory. You'll have to do that yourself, but you can still purchase the new recipe book that will be updated for your town planner. Obviously, this is the same recipe book that it just had. The reason for this is because the new recipe books are so much more complex. I made it easier on myself to add new recipes and alter recipes by having them all in one place, which is in the update all function. So instead of the town planner being summoned with the full recipe book, instead he gets summoned with an empty book, and then the update function runs. What this also means is if, for example, you were to build a railway, instead of having to use the update all function on your own, it'll run on its own when you build a railway far away to get that town planner to have the right recipe book, and that will therefore also update this town planner if he's in loaded chunks. It's not really often going to come up, so it just has to do with making things easier on the back end, but that is technically a side effect of that, and a positive side effect, I think. I don't think it's going to cause any issues. I think it'll make things a little bit easier for you guys to update to future versions, and that'll be the same forever. So no longer will the update all function remove any recipe books you have, because it runs more frequently now in order to give the correct recipe books to the correct planner villagers. Let's see, let's go ahead and go to the Nether. If we go ahead and give ourselves the necessary advancement, Nick, oh, only Nick K, patch 4.1, and I'll just go ahead and put a Nether portal right here. There we go. Get our book, start our fortress. This recipe book is also updated to the new system, so it will be easier to read as well, and therefore easier to tell that you need nether brick items, not nether brick blocks, as well as everything else that you would normally get. There's no new structures here. Oh, there is one more structure in the overworld, but we'll get there in a second. We'll go back. Let's go ahead and get the magical farm real quick. Let's see, an S only, Nico, recipe, magical farm. There we go. So if we go ahead and switch to survival mode, the magical farm, I believe it is, yes, the weeping vines produce, oh dear, raw iron instead of iron ore. The nether warts will still produce diamonds, and the bamboo will still produce uncooked pork chops, raw pork chops. So basically the only thing that's changed since the last version is the weeping vines now drop raw iron instead of iron ore. There's also one more very cool change here in the counter offensive. Let's go ahead and build a strider dock right here. And if we come around safely over to the button here, you may notice that the button is now pretty instantaneous. So we can keep bouncing back and forth here, and it will always take us immediately to where we need to be. So there we go. The strider dock is now much more reliable. You don't have to worry about being in rhythm, in sync with the scheduled functions. A function or a scheduled function doesn't even operate this at all. It's now done through an advancement. So whenever you press a stone button, if you are close enough to the correct item or correct entity, then it will take you to the bottom of the dock and vice versa. So that is how that gets handled now. It should be much easier to utilize your strider dock. Let's go ahead and jump in here. Set the time today. Set day. There we go. And real quick, let's go ahead and build a farm plot. Get the right one. Here we go. Let's build a farm plot. And we'll also build a barn. There we go. I'm going to kill all the items because they are getting in my way. There we go. So every day at noon, as we know, the farm plot will produce 12, a mixture of 12 farm-related items. So wheat, seeds, carrots, wheat, and potatoes. And similarly, the barnyard will produce 12 or slightly more of some compostable materials and or bone meal. But now there's a new structure. Let's go ahead and get rid of all of these, and we will go ahead and look in our recipe book here. There is a new structure back here. That is not the correct recipe book. Did I get rid of the other one? Yes, I did. Let's buy the new one from right here. Thank you. And if we come back here, we'll see underneath the Bard's College, we've got the windmill. So the windmill structure is new to this version. It will double the yield from all of your farm plots, your barnyards, your mining drills, and your regional outposts. Anything that gets deposited into a chest, the windmill will double. And that'll be the case going forward. If any new structures deposit things into chests, they will be covered by the windmill. The resources, however, unlike the resource silo, are still deposited at the appropriate site's chest. So it won't be collected at the windmill, it'll come here. So let's take a look at the windmill. We'll go ahead and build it with the recipe, I think. So let's see, we need quite a lot of materials. Obviously, like the resource silo, this is a powerful structure, so it needs to be expensive. So we need 2 stacks of oak logs and a stack of stone, stack of wool, stack of iron, stack of copper, stack of wheat, and the building permit, of course. Let's go ahead and grab the building permit and the rest of these materials right here. So we've got our stone, the oak logs we can double in a second. We've got the white wool. We'll get the iron, the copper, and the wheat, which might be in foodstuffs. No, looks like it's right here. Okay. So let's put it right here, I think. So building permit, wool, copper, split the wool, wheat, do some of that business, and there we go. Here is our windmill. So the windmill is not going to be a rotating structure. The windmill will always face the same direction. Specifically, it will face into the wind. The way that the clouds go is the direction the windmill will face, or rather opposite, so that it can catch the wind. You know, obviously it's not really doing that, but it's an aesthetic type thing. So this is the windmill from the front. It does have a lightning rod on top, more so just because I wanted to give it a copper roof, and I felt like it made sense to have as a good place for the lightning rod to help protect your villagers. I will say now with 1.17 out, I really recommend, I'm not going to put a lightning rod on the wagon itself. Obviously that wouldn't work because it's wool right here, but I really recommend one of the first things you do when you start your town, build a lightning rod, put it somewhere nearby so that your town planner doesn't turn into a witch. It's been a not common problem, but often enough that it's frustrating, obviously, when it does happen, especially because it is so rare that the town planner, despite being invulnerable, if you're in survival mode, you can't hurt him. He's invulnerable, persistent, but if he gets struck by lightning, he will turn into a witch anyway. Minecraft doesn't care. So I really recommend building a lightning rod as soon as you can. But the windmill serves as a nice, convenient place to have a lightning rod, you know, so that doesn't look ugly. The windmill does have a door inside. It is in the back behind the windmill, and it just kind of looks like a general granary type situation to grind up all your flour or all your wheat into flour. Obviously, it doesn't functionally work, and there's no chests in here because, as I said, the resources are still deposited at their normal location. So let's empty the mine real quick and show that off. That was from the last yield. But if we do time set 5900, wait a second for noon again. I'm going to break this nether portal so I don't walk into it by accident. There we go. We can take a look at our farm and see now we have quite a few more resources. 24 different items, more or less. It's a little bit different based on the wheat here. But that does look like it's actually 24. Same over here, a little bit different because the bone meal, that can have a variable quantity, unlike the other items. But 24 total items there or more, and the mining drill as well. A little bit different, but it does get 2 rolls basically of the materials rather than the normal one. So it just increases your yield every day. It potentially increases the odds of getting the rare items from here like diamond, and of course bone meal from the barnyard for manure purposes. And then of course just a lot more food from the farm plot. If you build new versions of these as well, they will update to be doubled under the windmill, just like mines and lumber mills. If you build any more after building a resource silo, they will still be doubled. So if we were to build, for example, a regional outpost right here, the same thing would happen. It would already have its materials doubled. We won't build any more, obviously, so you don't get the tyrant here. The gas are kind of chilling, being totally fine on their own. But if you look here, we do get 24 items out of this. So that is a really powerful structure. The windmill is really useful to build. Definitely recommend it for the mid to late game, as it's especially going to be useful for your mining drill and your farm plot. And that, I believe, is all of the major changes coming to the 1.17 version 2.6 of New in Town. Obviously, if you are a fan of the channel, you've been watching for a while, you know that we just finished up the 1.16 Let's Play of New in Town. 1.17 Let's Play won't be starting right away. We'll be doing some other things kind of in the meantime while we wait to get that going. There will be, of course, more dev diaries. Next dev diary, we'll go and take a look back in the Primordial Desert and we'll look at the New in Town excavators. That is going to be publicly available by the time that video comes out. You'll be able to see everything that will probably go over there at the in the Dimensions pre-release, which will be updated for 1.17 with all that content. But we'll still go over it anyway because there's a lot of cool stuff, and it is kind of mid to late game level of materials necessary to get there. After that, of course, will be plenty more dead diaries to look at the buried ocean and the seafarers and what's coming and planned for the Tempest, and of course plenty more dev diaries after that, as all of those dimensions continue to receive updates in their beta release. I do plan on doing other content as well, speed runs, different kinds of New in Town challenges, so there's still plenty more cool stuff to do in New in Town. If you want to get involved with the community, do remember to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to keep an eye on when those new videos come out. And of course, you can join the New in Town community on Discord, follow me on Twitter to stay active, stay informed, and see what all kinds of cool things are coming to the New in Town community, including, of course, the custom structure pack add-ons that the community members continue to work on and astound me with all kinds of new structures and features that you can add to your New in Town world on top of the base New in Town experience. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, like I said, please remember to share with your friends, like, and subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys next time.